Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Giovanni and I'm an Italian artist, and today we're gonna talk about Pokemon. If you saw this video, you may already know what I'm gonna talk about. In that video I showed you some Pokemon I designed, and I also said I wanted to make a series here on my channel where I design Pokemon for each country of the world, and I'm doing it. Thank you. I think I'm gonna do like six six videos, and then I will do another video showing all the designs, and you will find all the videos of this series in a playlist which I link down in the description. And also, before starting, if you want to suggest ideas for other Pokemon for this country or for others, write everything in the comment. Would really appreciate that. So without further ado, let's start with the first country of this series, which is Egypt. As you may have already understood from the title of this video, since I was obsessed with Egyptian mythology when I was a child, I obviously had to start with this country. I designed like 35 Pokemon. I made the starters, regional variants, and the evolution for existing Pokemon, new Pokemon, and the legendaries. Also, remember to feel free to tell me if you like the names and the types I choose or not. So let's start with... I wanted the starters to have a theme, and so I thought about canop vases, which are these 4 vases in which the organs of the deceased were placed during mummification. Each one represents one of the 4 sons of Horus, and they have an animal head or a human head. So I decided to base the starters on the 3 with animal's head. So first of all, as you can see, since I had already made them, but as I said in the previous video, I wanted to redraw them, I more or less traced the shape. I admit that it was quite difficult to start drawing digitally again after a long time, and in fact, as you can see, I will make a lot of mistakes and I will also change my mind very often. However, for the first starter I made, I took inspiration from Egyptian canop vase of Hapi, with the baboon head and where the lungs were placed. I wanted the base form to look like a baby, so the fur form a sort of baby head, cap, whatever it's called. I made the legs and the arms quite small, but I was very undecided, because at first it looked like it was flying. I liked the idea of a flying baboon. It also made sense because flying, air, lungs, I mean, is a perfect link. It can also be psychic though. By the way, at the end I was satisfied with the shape I made. For its evolution I wanted it to be more teen-like. I made it taller and flying, as you can see. Also, at this point during the researches for some reference, I discovered this. So apparently Happy is associated with water, and so I made it water type instead of grass, which was my original idea. Although I was a little sad because I really wanted it to be grass type. But this discovery led me to later add some other details in the design. After I finished all the starters, I decided to recolor them all. I wasn't satisfied at all, so I decided to take more time. In fact, here you can see they're already colored, but then I redid it. And finally we're going on with the last stage. I made it more adult-like, also more alien, angelic-like. I don't know, I think it looks good. As I already said, I was already satisfied with how the first design came out, so I kept it more or less the same. I just turned I just turned those things in the hair into a more wings shape, so maybe that's how it fly. Then I move on to the color, and I had already chosen the palette. I wanted it to be mainly light blue with white, pink and gold details, which will be a color that will be very present in the other Pokemon too. Then I went darker with the Evos toward almost a lucent navy. I think it really fits it. Yeah, basically that's it. And so here we have the water starter Babubble from Baboon and Bubble that evolves into Babapi from Baboon and Happy, and then into Droneapun from Drone, Happy and Baboon. Now let's move on to the second starter. So for this one I took inspiration from the Egyptian canop vase of Duamutef, with the jackal head and where the stomach was placed. And since it is connected to Earth, I made them also ground type. Also, let me apologize for the very low quality time lapse, but that's what Procreate gave to me, it's not my fault. So if anyone knows how to improve the quality, please let me know in the comments. By the way, as you can see now, I started drawing the draft, placing it next to the other stars. I was very undecided on what I wanted to add to the design, so at the end I opted for this sort of bob cut. And I must say that in the end I am satisfied with the result. It's cute, not my favorite, but it's cute. Its evolution, it's practically a larger version of the previous one. It was actually difficult at first to find the perfect draft. In fact, as you can see, I made a few attempts, but I was really struggling, especially with the legs. But at the end, I find one I was quite satisfied with, and I kept the ears long, and I turned the bob cut into a sort of large hood. Perhaps made of earth, clay, to connect it to its second type. And finally, the last evolution. Again, it's a bigger jackal with a more longer shape, and the hood turned into a proper armor. I made it bulkier and I really like that. I also had this sort of shark fin because I imagined it swimming underground or under the sun. And for the color palette, I obviously choose green, but I opted for an olive green rather than a too bright green. Brown and gold details as well. I choose the ears to be gold because in one of the references the ears were golden, so I thought it was a cool idea, and so I did it. For the evolution, the colors are more darker, but they're basically the same. I really like the last evolution, it's really cool. Also the second one, even if I struggle a lot, it's actually good. I'm not sad with the result, but I'm not also really satisfied. But I like them. And so here is the grass starter Herjak from Earth and Jackal that evolves into Jakamutaf from Jackal and Dwamutaf, and then at the end into Huakamuktal from Earthquake, Dwamutaf and Jackal. Finally, moving to the last three, I inspired them by the Egyptian canop vase of Kebesenwef, where the intestines were placed, and I didn't know what other type to add. It could be psychic or maybe ghost, I don't know. So let me know what you would suggest in comments. Starting with the draft, I chose a very simple shape. It's a little bird. I wanted the designs to not be too complex, although in the meantime I thought about adding more details, but then it seemed a bit too much for me. I put this hood on it, which reminds me of a sort of hijab, and which I then also added to its evolution. And its evolution, yes, you guessed right, it's a bigger bird, and I made it flying. I kinda like the pose I choose, and I turned the hijab into a sort of turbant that you can see people wear in the desert. It's called keffia. Sorry if I mispronounced it. I want it to be massive, like a giant bird flying in the desert, and I was actually really confident with this design. I think it's definitely the best design among all. So the colors are a fairly dark red-orange and a bluish black for the hood hijab, and for the golden element I add these things to the wings. I don't know what they are, but in the end I'm quite satisfied with it. The evolution is again basically the same. The thing is that I like to keep more or less the same color for evolutions because they seem more coherent this way, but I will also try to change them radically with other designs in the future. And here we have the fire and last starter, Sparrow from Spark and Hook, that evolves into Hakebe from Hook and Kebesenmuf, and then into Falfragonef from Falcon Conflagration and Kebesen. Why I choose so difficult words? So this is the end of the first video of this series. I really hope you liked it. You will find, as I said, all the videos in the playlist that I link in the description, and tell me which one of these is your favorite. I think the final stages are definitely really good. Middle stages maybe not that much. The starters are cute, so at the end I'm satisfied. I unfortunately have to say that this time the grass starter is not my favorite. I think I failed. I love grass starter, I love them so much, and this time I have to admit it's not the best one. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as I said earlier, let me know if you have any other ideas for more Pokemon of this country or for others. Please put a like and subscribe to see more. I see you, I think, next week with the second part of this series where I design some regional variants. So, bye everyone.